Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Deadpool and Wolverine. So this movie, of course, came out in 2024, and it had a budget of $200 million, but made 1.338 billion with a B dollars and stuff at the box office. Originally, I was gonna watch this in the theaters and stuff because I normally don't go to movies because of my tinnitus and stuff like that, and I just don't want to risk it with all that loud noise. But then time just kept passing, and I was busy, and then I just forgot, and I'm like, it'll come out on Disney Plus in about 2 or 3 months. So I made sure I renewed my Disney Plus from when November came and everything. Oh my God, man, this movie was awesome. This is probably my favorite Deadpool movie since the first one. The Deadpool movies are very interesting. Like, they're all different. They have the same tone, but they're just all different when you really look into it, right? The first two was made by Fox. And the first movie, that felt more like your traditional Fox realistic comic book movie that they used to do back in the day. They even did that with the first Iron Man movie, even though that was not Fox. It's kind of like, what would this comic book hero or anti-hero, whatever, would look like in the real world? What would he sound like? How would he get his powers and stuff? That was something that was really interesting about the earlier X-Men movies. You felt like they were real. They didn't feel like a comic book movie and stuff. And that's how the first, Deadpool movie was, because they couldn't call him a mutant and get his power, his powers like a mutant and stuff, because for some reason they just couldn't use that word and everything. So they had to come up with a completely different way of giving him his powers and accelerating his genes and stuff like that. But then you get into the second Deadpool movie, which that one I think it made less money than the first. There was just something off with that movie. It felt like there was too many characters in that movie that had no business being in that movie, even though they did. And so that one felt more like a comedic comic movie. It felt more like a comic book movie. It was just something different about that movie. I don't know what, but it was just something different with it. Plus, it blew my fans' minds where they couldn't figure out what time period does Deadpool take place. People assume it took place in the older X-Men timeline, but then you see the first class X-Men mutants there, but an older Colossus and everything, and a different Yuiko and everything. I think that's her name. And what's the Asian girl name that's dating that one girl? 'Cause there's a different one from the Wolverine movie that looks different, acts different, and actually fights. And so, but then you get into this movie, and of course, this is an MCU movie, but kind of like an MCU slash Fox movie. And it was just there to have fun and pander to the fans. Cause what were they gonna do in this movie? You know what I'm saying? Cause it's there was a lot of fear from a lot of fans when Deadpool joins the MCU. Will he be allowed to cuss? Will there be blood? Will there be sexual humor? Where there be violence and everything. A lot of fans felt like everything was gonna get toned down and everything, People felt like it was gonna be PG-13. But then Kevin Feige's like, sure, why not? Be R-rated and everything. But then that pissed off the Blade fans, because when Mahershala Ali movie was supposed to come out, it was gonna be PG-13. Then they later changed it to an R rating and stuff. And so, because of the decline of the MCU projects lately, which it was so funny they made fun of that. Because of the I'm getting tongue tied. Because of the decline and everything, like they really had to knock this movie out the park and everything. But what were they gonna do? Originally Hugh Jackman's all like, I ain't coming back. Like, Wolverine's dead in Logan, that's my goodbye to the fans and everything. Like, I'm done. And he literally just did not want to come back. He didn't even want to do a Deadpool movie, even though Ryan Reynolds kept teasing him so much. And so, if this would have been just a regular Deadpool movie with like a Deadpool villain and everything, who knows if fans would have liked it, or it probably would have been more similar to like the second movie, you know what I'm saying? And so Kevin Feige knew what he had to do. He had to get Hugh Jackman back. You know what I'm saying? He had to save his MCU and everything. Because it's like, you don't want a lackluster Deadpool movie. Like, because the MCU is dying. So, with the help of like Ryan and Kevin, they persuaded Hugh Jackman to come back. And of course, money was like a big thing. They paid the crap out of him. And that's probably the real reason why he probably did it and everything. Or it could be also because, when you look at both Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman movies that are not comic book related to that of Marvel, they don't do so well. And I mean, they don't do so well. Both those men have put out tons and tons and tons of movies only for them to get mixed reviews or for them to bomb and everything. Some of Hughes do a little bit better, but not by much. And so a lot of people really question, like, is he actually a good actor? Is Ryan a good actor? Because their movies tend to not do well. Similar to that of Chris Evans and everything. Like, his comic book movies do well, but the moment he's in another project, they don't do so well. And so, like, both of them had to do this movie just to, like, not only just serve it up to the fans, but to save face and everything. Because their other movie projects just really just don't do all that well. And, honestly, I've never been a fan of Ryan Reynolds. I've said this before. I don't know what it is, man. I just don't find him funny in other movies, but the only movies I do like him in is Deadpool. Because he loves that character so much, he brings his A game in terms of acting. The first time I saw him was in Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the television movie. Then I saw him in Blade Trinity, and that's how I really knew who he was. I'm just like, dude, I can't stand this dude. Then I saw the Van Wilder movie, only like a couple of like minutes of it, because they had it at my school for free for like movie night. So I sat down, I watched, I'm like, I do not like this. I got my free pizza, my popcorn, and I left. And when he was in Wolverine Origins, I did not like him there either. But then the moment he did his very first Deadpool movie, he sold me. Like, I became somewhat of a fan and everything. And as for Hugh Jackman, I've only seen him play Wolverine. I have never seen this man play nothing else. So his Wolverine acting is the only thing I have to go by and stuff. And so, like, I don't know, man. It's just like, I'm curious to see the other projects, but not really. It's just, I don't know. It's just Ryan Reynolds movies just don't do it for me and stuff. Like, they really just don't. And it was cool to see, Hugh Jackman play Wolverine again. It was cool to see him wear the costume. I'm like, thank God we finally got to see. And I stand by what I said, whatever video I said this in. Honestly, in 2000, if they would have worn those brightly colored, silly X-Men costumes, I don't think it would have done very well. I just don't, because they went the leather route, you know what I'm saying? And I personally like the black X-Men costumes. They're really cool. They feel militant. It feels like they're an organization, which they are. I just wish they had a bit more color in it when it comes to their X's and their individual colors. That's my only complaint with them. But yeah, I really love those costumes, and I wish they could have brought one of those costumes on over to this movie, but they didn't. But it was cool to see him in, like, the traditional ish Wolverine costume. It's more practical, realistic looking. I still hate the sleeves. I just don't like those sleeves. But I'd rather see the sleeves than Hugh Jackman arms. I don't know what the heck is going on with this man's arms in this movie. Towards the end, when the sleeves were gone, his arms looked rubber, and I'm not even joking. People say they're real. I don't know, man. No, those arms look rubber, like prosthetic arms or something. Then, when his shirt got ripped off, his entire muscular body looked CGI, similar to that of Nicolas Cage in Ghost Rider and stuff, when he had those CGI abs and everything. That looked completely fake. Now, there could be a reason why he didn't. Okay, if it's fake, if the arms are fake, if his chest and everything and the abs are fake, then it's because of the skin cancer. He's been getting that a lot, and he doesn't like being out in the sun. And of course, this movie actually filmed outside. Thank God for that. I'm so happy they went outside. I get so tired of seeing people in studios and fake backgrounds. Like, it's just atrocious and everything. Like, I'm so glad they actually went outside. Now, in terms of the movie, okay, basically, what the plot is. Basically, Deadpool's having, I think, like, either a birthday or something like that. And then the TVA, they come and get him, and they're all like, look, man, we want you to join the MCU, but your world's pretty much coming to an end, and I'm about to accelerate it because the anchor is gone, and the anchor was Wolverine. So he doesn't think Wolverine is dead because he has the regenerative powers and everything, but he's deader than dead. Which, again, when does the Deadpool movies take place? Because Wolverine was set in the future where the X-Men are dead. So it's kind of like, why the heck is Colossus there? And Megasonic Warhead thingy or whatever. But of course, this is the Deadpool movies. They're all about, not explaining things, chaos, and, like whatever. So like, it's just basically just have to go with it. You know what I'm saying? And so he tries to find another Wolverine to anchor his universe and save it. But Mr. Paradox is like, wanting to be a villain. Now, Mr. Paradox, he is your typical MCU villain. He's boring, he's lame, he's not that scary. And like, he's there and then he's not. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's little backstory to him. It's super rushed. Like, it's just, you know what I'm saying? So he sends them to the void, and this is where we meet Cassandra, Xavier and everything. Now, she is your typical Fox, like X-Men villain. The Fox X-Men villains tend to be a heck of a lot better. She's scary, she's dangerous. Like, you're worried when she's on screen because she could kill you at any time or mess with you. The whole thing she does with like the fingers in the head is creepy, and those are prosthetic fingers on her on the actress's finger and stuff. And so, like, she's your traditional X-Men like Fox villain. And it would have been great to see the actress in the MCU, but I'm pretty sure that actress or the character is deader than dead. So this is, of course, when we meet the other heroes and everything, like Blade, Gambit, X-23, what's his name? Human Torch, and like, Elektra. It was so good to see them giving their sound off, their goodbye to like, the Fox Marvel universe and everything. I will say, all of their costumes look like crap. Except for Gambit. And Blade's costume was cool, but I just don't like it. But at least Gambit was comic accurate. I'm sorry, did they run out of a budget or something? Like, then again, they probably didn't know who was all gonna say yes to returning. So they had to probably scrap together some like really fast costumes and stuff. But I did not like them. If I would have done this, I would have had them wear their movie costumes that when they was in. I would have had Electra wear the red costume. Blade would have had his trench coat and one of his vests from the movie. Oh my God, those Blade costumes from the earlier movies were awesome looking. Like they was just awesome looking. And so, oh my God, Johnny Storm, what the heck was the Human Torch wearing? It's like, nah, man, you gotta wear your costume and everything. And of course, Gambit finally got to appear. Now, other than the costumes, I am disappointed that like Gambit and Wolverine don't seem to know who they are from their own variants and stuff. Because Gambit, he apparently doesn't have no Wolverine in his universe. And this Wolverine apparently doesn't have no Gambit in his universe. So that's really sad to see. Also, Shannon Tatum. I hate that man's acting to death. That man's face does not emote at all. It stays completely stiff. And don't tell me it's because of that mask thing he wears. That's how he is in every movie and stuff. The man's face just literally doesn't move. And of course, it's a gag. You can't understand what he's saying. So, okay, fine, whatever. The stuff he did with the cars was pretty cool. Blade... but I'm wondering, which Blade is this? Is this the Blade from like the older movies or is it not? Because these are variants and stuff, so it makes me wonder. I feel like it's the one from the earlier movies, but Blade is supposed to age slower than humans, so why does he have gray in his hair? Also, I could not understand what Wesley Snipes was saying, and I'm not even joking. I don't know if he got older, his voice just deteriorated. I don't know if he's trying to do his Blade voice and his voice deteriorated, but I could not understand what that man was saying. Also, while his costume looked cool, I never want to see Blade in this. Also, where the heck was his katana at? Or his broadsword, or whatever you call it. Like, I did not want to see him fight with those, like, little knives and stuff. I wanted to see him with his katana, and I wanted to see what his gun actually looked like, because in the Blade movies, his guns were very unique. And here, you only saw, like, the front of the gun, and that's it. So it makes me think it was just a regular gun. It was nice to see his little throwing thing, and it made sense for him not to have spikes, but that man needed that trench coat. Plain and simple as that. Electra is great. She has those sides again. Those are some of the most unique sides I've ever seen with the pattern decoration in it. I've been wanting those forever, but I can't find them online. Her costume was hideous. And it was nice that she had some dialogue. The Human Torch, I will never forgive them for this. I will never forgive them for making him into a joke, killing him very quickly, which of course is a gag from the Multiverse of Madness movie. But it was cool to see him flame on, you know what I'm saying? Which I don't believe for not 1 second, that this is the same Johnny Storm for the earlier movies. Because they never had a Fantastic car that looked like the one from the comic. They had a more updated version. But here you see it's completely different. And so I just refuse to believe my Johnny's dead. Who else? X-23. It's so great to see Daphne King back again, you know what I'm saying? However, I'm disappointed they just had her in regular clothes. I get it, she was never a hero. She never joined the X-Men or no other team, so she's not gonna wear a costume from the comics. I wish they would have gave her her X-Men Evolution outfit, the leather, or the leather from the comics. I wish to God they would have done that. And I understand why this one's not all in rage because, time has passed. For whatever reason, she got pruned and everything. However, during the fight scene, I was expecting her to be more enraged, like she was, and angry, like she was when she was a little kid. Now, the actress said that she was afraid she wouldn't be able to bring that again because it's been so long, and I can see it. Like, it just was not brought back. The fight scene with her was just, she lost her anger. She lost that rage. You saw her rage out a little bit when she was on the ground, pinned, her head shaking and her screaming, but that was about it. And her fight scenes could have been a heck of a lot cooler. But the choreography for like the fight scenes throughout this entire movie, while they was good, this movie was action packed, and thank God it was action packed. And I get it; it's hard to swing around a bunch of claws because you don't know which direction you're gonna go in, how your mind's gonna think of how you're gonna block, how you're gonna stab. Because I own a pair of Wolverine claws from when they first came out, those really big, thick ones from like the X-Men movies and stuff. Them things, like, they're heavy and you wonder, mine's are made out of real steel, so they're kind of heavy and you just wonder how you gonna swing them and this and that. Like the kind I got are more like how his claws kind of were in the first movie where they was just like blades and everything, whereas in the movie they have more of like depth and thickness to them and stuff. But like, yeah, man, it's just like it's hard to figure out because your mind wants to go one way, your two hands want to go another way. So I get that. But the action scenes, the ones between Deadpool and Wolverine when they're fighting each other, those were great. Those were hilarious. But however, it's the group fights. The group fights felt like they was just filmed by somebody who had no vision or didn't have that much time. The movie's only an hour and 25 minutes. It's less than your typical 90-minute movie. And so, like, also the budget and everything. So it's like while the fight scenes were cool with the group in the void, and while it was cool with Deadpool Wolverine and those 100 Deadpools, it's just they could have been more creative with the fighting and everything. And so like that's a big gripe I have. Now Cassandra, man, I wish to God they would have introduced her in one of the older X-Men movies or one of the First Class movies. She was so cool and interesting. She should. That's what I got, Simon Kinberg, man. Leave the whole Phoenix thing alone. That third First Class movie should have had her in there, man. For real. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so, I gotta call this out. When this movie came out and people was reviewing it, one thing I noticed were all the hypocrites. And there were tons of hypocrites. First, if you had a problem with She-Hulk dancing with Megan Thee Stallion, then you are a hypocrite because Deadpool danced to NSYNC. And most likely he did that because, like, Ryan was probably testing the anti-woke mob and everything to see if they would like him dancing to NSYNC, but hated the whole Megan Thee Stallion thing. And of course, what did they do? They loved it and everything. Which just proves they are sexist. And they was just hating on that scene in She-Hulk just to hate. Now, personally, I hate both dance scenes. I thought him dancing to, like, NSYNC was just ridiculous and dumb. But of course, that's who he is. Then, if you are one of those guys that hate wokeness, if you're one of those guys or girls, tell you the truth, that hates the LGBT and always complain when you see them in television, you are a hypocrite. Because in case you've forgotten or switched your brain off or something like that, Deadpool is pansexual. He's been that way since the comic. He likes both guys and girls. So if you're one of these people who scream woke when you see an LGBT character on television, but you drool over that of Deadpool, you are a hypocrite. Also, lastly, if you complain about the superhero cameos that die very quickly by the hands of Wanda and Doctor Strange 2, Madness, Multiverse of Madness, you are a hypocrite. Why? Because of the whole Johnny Storm thing. That dude died within seconds. Sabretooth died within seconds. And if you're okay with that or think it's funny, you are a hypocrite. So yeah, man, back to those deaths. I am disappointed, and I wanted to see Johnny Storm mess somebody up with that fire. I wanted to see Wolverine versus Sabretooth, and we did not get that. And it was probably just a gag, or they ran out of time or budget or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I wanted to see that fight so bad. Now, the whole, like, them escaping and trying to kill Cassandra and then trying to, and then, the helmet thing. Oh, I forgot. The cameos of the villains. They're all variants, man. Well, except for Pyro. But Sabretooth. But they're all variants, man. I was just trying to look through, see who can I recognize and everything. And man, it sucks they couldn't get the original stars to come back. The guy in the striped shirt, Juggernaut, Azul, what's her face? Lady Deathstrike, Callisto, Toad, and Quill. And Blob. I'm like, man, why couldn't y'all get the original people to come back? That would have been awesome. Ah, that pisses me off, man. But I do like how they use Juggernaut's helmet to, subdue that of, Cassandra. Which, once again, man, when does the Deadpool movies take place? Because there's two different Juggernauts and everything. I just wish they would explain that crap. And, it's weird. Like, we had Wolverine in this movie, but it's not our Wolverine that everybody knows and loves. It's a completely different version who failed his team. And this one had a little bit more of a personality similar to that of Wolverine in the comics, which is something the X-Men movies were lacking and stuff. And it was cool how he redeemed himself at the end, by not wanting to kill Cassandra. It would have been great to have a Professor X cameo. We needed that for a flashback. But of course, Patrick Stewart is way too much money. And they would have to get somebody who's the same age as the actress. So James McAvoy, for whatever reason, they didn't get. And it does make me wonder how many people from the Fox Marvel movies did they ask to come back? Because Halle Berry literally said she was never asked to come back. So that's why she was never in it and stuff. And as for the dude who plays Cyclops, well, most likely he ain't going to be appearing no time soon because he defended a man accused of sexual assault. I think it was that man who worked at Disney or Fox or something who messed around with young kids. How can you defend that man? I don't care if you are friends with that man. Seriously, so many young people came forward and I think that, what was it? He was arrested. I think he went through trial. How can you defend that? Seriously. The actor who plays Cyclops had no controversial issues whatsoever until now. So, yeah. Now, as for the whole scene with all the Deadpools, man, that was cool. I didn't even know none of the people that voiced them until I saw it. I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know y'all got all these people to do it. And technically, Blake Lively was Lady Deadpool, just the voice, and Ryan Reynolds' kids were Kidpool. It sucks Gwenpool couldn't be in there. Now, yeah, I know. Technically, she's not Gwen Stacy, and technically, she's not a variant of Deadpool. But in my opinion, she's a combination of both, even though she technically isn't, which is really odd and makes no sense. But it would have been cool to see her and stuff. And that was cool that X-23 got to live back in the X timeline. She's no longer pruned and everything, and everybody else got to go back to their dimension, and Wade's dimension was saved. But I'm disappointed that Megasonic War, whatever her name is, and Yuriko, whatever her name is, didn't get to fight in the battle. Same with Colossus. It was nice to see them, don't get me wrong, but they was only there just to be all like, hey, yeah, y'all been here since day one, but y'all ain't gonna make us no money, so we're gonna go the Hugh Jackman route and the older actor route from the older like movies. So sorry. And it's just kind of like that must be the biggest like slap in the face, man. It has to be, like, you know what I'm saying? Because like they've been there since day one. They have stuck out with those movies only to get like small little scenes and stuff, but at least they was included. As for what's her name? Marina Backlund or something like that, who played Vanessa. Now she said that she really wants to come back and play this character. But who is this character? Like in the first Deadpool movie, she's his girlfriend, fiance, and she's edgy just like him. Second and third movie, she's mellow and calm. Completely different from the first movie. Not only that, but she doesn't look the way she does in the comics. She's supposed to have blue skin. She has never had blue skin, and she's never had her mutant powers. Honestly, I can do without this character, because I never understood why they kept bringing her back for the second and third if the actress couldn't even come back for the second movie. And then the third one, they're just like, whatever, writing everybody out. You know what I'm saying? So if they bring her back, then just make her blue. You know what I'm saying? And so, of course, still Deadpool and Wolverine are not in the MCU. They're still in that Fox universe, even though that's not there no more. But, of course, there's been speculation that they might appear in the MCU down the line. Kevin Feige said he would love for them to come. And so I guess Hugh Jackman is no longer retired from this character and everything, which pisses me off because after that third movie, I'm like, all right, fine. He doesn't want to come back. I'm okay with it. Blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've moved on. Only for him to bring his old behind back. And man, that dude has gotten old after 24 something years. Like, I could not believe it. It's weird even to see Marina and Ryan age, from like the first Deadpool movie and stuff. Like, it's funny how people age, you know what I'm saying? In just a couple of years and stuff. But most likely they'll probably be in like Secret Wars or something like that. And you know what? This was really the perfect opportunity for them to introduce Doctor Doom. But of course, they didn't have no actor at that time, and they were still trying to figure things out. But think about it. He really could have been the main villain of this movie, tried to take over, and for him to escape like the void and end up in the MCU. It was right there, people. It was right there, Kevin. It was right there. But Cassandra trying to like destroy the entire multiverse and just leave the void, and that's it. I did not like that. If they just would have had it where she's redeemed and helped them escape, I would have been fine. But they had to go that multiverse, destroy parallel dimension route. They do that in just about every parallel dimension movie there is just about. They did it in the Ninja Turtle one. They did it in the Justice League DC animated one. Stop doing that. Like, we get it. If there's gonna be a multiverse movie, somebody's gonna try to destroy the multiverse. We get it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I can't wait to own this on DVD, which is super expensive on both, like, what is it, Amazon and especially eBay. My God. People got that movie for $100 and 70 on eBay. Like, nobody's gonna pay that price when it's a way cheaper, but not too cheap, on like Walmart and that of Amazon. And before I forget, because I did forget, there's some more things I want to touch on. First, I love the Wolverine variants. It was cool to see them in their comic book like costumes, but I wish we could have got to see them a little bit longer and really take in those costumes, you know? Because those costumes were like so nice. And they should have just got a little person to play like, you know, the short Wolverine, because honestly, that just looked so weird in the CGI. Also, Wolverine claws. You know, his claws have changed so much over the movies. They no longer look the way they did in that first X-Men movie. Now, personally, with this different Wolverine, we could have finally had a version of what his claws look like in like the older comics and in the X-Men cartoon series, where instead of coming out from the knuckle, they come out from the back of the palm of the hand and curve around when they come out and have them thin, almost kind of round looking like bone and everything. I've always wanted to see that version. And then there's the mask. I have mixed feelings about the mask. In some angles, it looks cool from the side. In the front, it looks kind of odd. As much as I always wanted to see that mask, there's something strange with the way it looks. First, the horns pull completely back. I don't like that. I wish they would have like stuck outward and feathered out, because that always looks cooler in animation. Second, the facial hair doesn't look good at all with the mask. In the cartoons, like, he just has mutton chops. He doesn't have a mustache or a goatee. So when you see the mustache and the goatee sticks out, it looks kind of weird, like somebody drew black lines on his skin. And last, the eyes. I do not like the eyes in the mask whatsoever. The eyes look weird. They're too short. They're too round. He looks like he's staring out into space. I wish we could have seen his pupils, or could have had triangular, like, you know, eyes or something like that, like in the Batman mask. So I personally just don't like the mask all that much. The whole Pete thing was funny. I was not expecting that whatsoever. And I mean whatsoever. Also, there's like a cameo from this actor from Zomboat. Like the dude who's driving the car with his family. He was in Zomboat. How does he not have no speaking lines? Like, why is he just a voiceless cameo and everything? And last, I'm glad that the Deadpool variants were evil. Because the thing a lot of people don't realize is that Deadpool actually started off very evil in the comics. He just killed people because he was a mercenary and stuff. But once they made him, like, you know, an anti-hero, he's pretty much been that since then, even in animation. Except for, like, you know, the Hulk versus Wolverine movie. Speaking of, this was a missed opportunity not to have Christopher North, no, Norland, what's his name? Nolan North, to voice Deadpool. The most famous Deadpool voice ever, other than Ryan Reynolds. And the best one in my opinion. That's the first Deadpool I ever like heard and seen and everything. And Nolan North is like amazing as Deadpool. I can't believe they didn't get him and stuff. Such a missed opportunity. And like I said before, the Wolverine variants were really cool. I still think they should have just got a shorter person to like play the smaller Wolverine, because that whole CGI making him look short just didn't look right. But I get it, they was going for something more comedic, so that's why they didn't polish it up. It would have been nice to see all the different like Wolverine like costumes longer than what we did, because like we never got to see them on screen. So that would have been like very cool. And I wish they could have got more than just one person just to play Wolverine. The only people that played him was like Henry Cavill and of course Hugh Jackman. A lot of people love Henry as like Wolverine, but I don't know. I just wasn't feeling that. There's something about his face that just didn't shape right with that hair and mustache. He just looks strange and everything. And as for the Hulk cameo, that brown and yellow suit, it couldn't have been like the first version we've ever seen of him like fighting the Hulk. I could have sworn he was wearing like a modified yellow and blue costume in that comic, but who knows. So yeah, was this movie necessary? Yeah, to save like the Deadpool franchise and the MCU, sure. Did this movie pander to fans? Oh, most definitely. Because, it was a very bleak, like, story. You know what I'm saying? It was so bleak and everything. And so it was just there to make the fans happy. And sometimes that's what you have to do. But you know what I also like? I like the callback from the first Deadpool movie. Like the opening sequence where you see him killing people and you don't know why. Then you find out why and how he kills people and stuff like that. Such a great homage to the first movie. But the second movie just didn't do that. There's just something about that second movie. It's just something about it. Now, I did hear the original plans for the third Deadpool movie was to have him be in a bunch of like deleted scenes of the MCU and shown that he's been there the whole time. That would have been stupid. Then, of course, fans speculated that he would be bouncing around the multiverse with Wolverine in a van because he had Cable's time device. But of course, that didn't happen because they just decided, okay, let's just screw that storyline and get rid of the device and everything. And I don't know, it would have been cool if they had that device. But then, but I understand why they got rid of it because of the story and stuff. It does make me wonder what the original plans were going to be. Oh well, at least we got this fun movie. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.